My story takes place 19 years ago. I'm a female and I was 16 at the time. I'm 5'7", I was about 130 pounds, and I like to think that I'm strong, but I couldn't take on 2 young men. It begins with my mother and stepfather going away on vacation and leaving my 17-year-old sister and I home alone. They did this quite often. My parents were not winning any parenting awards. My sister and I didn't get along either. She was a nasty piece of work. Luckily, she decided to go stay at a friend's house while my parents were away. I was nervous about being alone, so I had my boyfriend staying with me. He was a pugnacious dickhead, but I'm glad he was there. One night, Brett and I were at my house, and we had just started messing around when I heard a really loud knock at the door. My room was in the basement, but at the landing area between the stairs. You know how some stairs are broken up and there's a turn area? That's the landing. There was a window that I could see the stairs that led up to the alcove of our front porch. I could see 2 people standing there, and just as I was peeking around to see them better, one of them saw me. I remember feeling the breath sucked out of my chest. There were 2 young men standing on my porch. It was almost midnight, and I had no idea who the hell they were. The guy that saw me let his friend know, and they both looked in the window and asked me to come to the door. My boyfriend had gone upstairs to open the door, and I remember freaking out because I told him not to. He was one of those guys that thought he was Mr. Tough Guy and believed he could fight anyone. He was telling the guys to leave just as I joined him at the door. They saw me and called me by name and asked for me to let them in. Brett told them to fuck off. One guy, I think he said his name was Wes or Les, something like that, said, "Come outside, we just want to talk to you," to my boyfriend. I said, "No thanks, we're going to bed," and shut the door. I was really confused and getting very frightened. They stood on my doorsteps for a few minutes, then started knocking again. Wes/Les explained to me, through the door, that he was my sister's friend, and that she had told him that I was alone at home and they should come by. I knew my sister, and I believed them. That did not, however, make me stupid. I told them to leave. They started kicking the door. It was shaking, and I seriously feared that it would not hold up. I was so scared that I ran into my kitchen to call the police. I was assured that they would be there very soon, and to lock the doors and stay on the phone. Meanwhile, Brett was still yelling at them, which only served to piss these guys off more. I begged him to shut up, but he would not listen to me. I was locking all the doors and windows upstairs, while Brett went down to check the doors. Down in the basement, there was a huge mudroom area, and it had a thick wooden door made of 2x4 planks, kind of like a barn door. The door had a big old lock on it, some spring-loaded turn bolt, and also had a plank to set across it, like a barricade. One of the guys was pounding on this door, and Brett heard him yell to the other guy to try the back door. This stupid door was one of those 1960 things that had a happy little square window right at face level, with a little curtain across it. I was at the door, trying to jam a chair under the flimsy knob, when I looked up and saw the unnamed guy just looking in at me. I screamed, and the dispatcher asked me if I was okay. I barely squeaked out that one of the guys was looking right at me through the window. He was older than me, probably about 20, and he was tall, and he looked scary as hell. His dark eyes were drilling into me, and he wore this creepy, placid smile on his face. I had never seen this man before, but he knew my name. He tapped on the window with one finger, never breaking eye contact, and said, "Becky, let me in." I couldn't breathe. The doorknob was rattling as he was messing with it. Then he said again, "Let me in, Becky. I just want to see if you're okay. I just want to talk." He stared at me. I didn't say anything. I was just 3 feet from him, with my back pressed to the fridge, when he suddenly started beating on the door and screamed, "Let me the fuck in this house. If I have to break in, I will kill you both, so just open the fucking door." He looked maniacal. There was a loud knock at the front door, and the man went silent. He gave me the most hateful sneer I'd ever seen. I heard shouting, and he ran down the back stairs and into the woods along the back of my yard. Brett had gone to the door. It was the cops. There were 2 female officers at the front door, and one was just starting to raise her voice asking where I was when I came to the door too. I was so relieved. I started sobbing. I told them that they had run away through the woods. Luckily, the woods were not deep. They actually ran along the bank of a large river, and there was a bridge just up from where the woods met the road. One officer ran around back, while one stayed to get a description and take a statement. Officer 1 came back and spoke to Officer 2, said she saw them running across the bridge. They both left in a hurry, hopped in the cruiser and sped off. I was still crying and shaking, but I was absolutely furious at Brett for riling them up. I went to make myself some tea, thinking of all the ways that I could kill my sister when she got home. I had so much anger, fear, and adrenaline pumping through me, I could have ripped her to shreds at that moment. 20 minutes later, the cruiser came back. There were 2 guys sitting in the back seat, and the officers wanted me to confirm it was the right guys. I looked through the window and saw them. They still looked terrifying to me. They were in cuffs and could not get to me, but I would not get close to them. Neither of them would look at me. I confirmed it was them, and we spoke a bit. I told the cops about my sister, suggesting that these 2 men come and see me. Officer 2 kind of mumbled, "What a bitch." I had to agree. I pressed charges for attempted forcible entry, property damage, they had broken a window in the living room, trespassing, disorderly conduct, and attempted assault. Initially, they both pled not guilty, but later admitted to some of the charges. They both got 18 months in jail and were forbidden to contact me or my boyfriend ever again, and to be at least 500 meters from me at all times. I never heard from them again. I confronted my sister about it, and of course, she denied it, then laughed about it. Laughed at me. She was an awful person. I have no idea what their true intentions were, as they maintained that they were just there to talk to me. I'm thankful I didn't have to find out. Before I start, I just want to acknowledge the fact that I was really stupid as a teenager, so I had little to no good judgment. I'm a female, and this happened when I was 15. At the time, I had run away from home with a friend, Kate. Kate and I were burnouts, as in only caring about smoking pot or drinking alcohol. I can't remember which city this happened, since it was about 6 years ago, and like I said, we were burnouts. This place was right next to a densely forested hill, and Kate was always looking for new boyfriends. I didn't like sleeping with the guys, but I never judged her. To each their own, right? She found a new guy, who I think was actually 19 or 20, and whose name I can't recall, so I'll call him Josh. I know it's statutory rape, but at the time I didn't care what Kate did. I can't remember what events led up to this, but it was late at night, and the mountain place looked amazingly creepy. Josh said he could get us some pot from one of his friends, so we proceed to wait outside for the drop-off. A crappy old 2-door car pulls up to us, and Josh greets his friend while Kate and I stay back. Josh tells us that his friend has the stuff at his house. Us being dumb, take it as no big deal and agree to get in the car. Kate and Josh sit in the back seat, leaving me to sit in the front. Since I get in last, I hadn't gotten a chance to see the driver, but holy crap, I mean I had bad judgment. But this guy was a full-blown stereotypical tweaker. Due to this, I'll refer to him as Tweak, like from South Park. He looked to be in his late 20s, lanky, with sunken cheeks, and his eyes. I'll never forget his eyes. His eyes were bulging out so much that I thought he had a medical condition. Tweak didn't smell grotesque like filth. He smelled like chemicals. It was as if he bathed in bleaching gasoline. I figured he sniffed chemicals, which was normal for me to meet people who did. I tried to ignore all of this, but once I sat down, Tweak would not keep his eyes off of me. Even when Josh was having small talk with him, Tweak was just keeping his eyes on me. I avoided eye contact and sat looking straight ahead. As he drove, I could feel his eyes on me. We drove up towards the hill, and I was still on full alert. Tweak began talking in weird phrases to Josh. I can't remember what he was saying, but I remember I couldn't understand what slang he was using. We stopped at a poorly lit street, and Tweak steps out and says he'll be right back, while staring at me. Once Tweak is out of sight, in a stern voice, Josh tells me we have to leave. I took this seriously, since Josh never spoke in this tone in the time that I knew him, and since he told me and not Kate. I was more level-headed than she. I swiftly get up and pull Kate out as well. Josh gave me a look of horror and said something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, but we need to get out of here now." I knew exactly why. Tweak wanted me as payment. I yanked Kate out of the dimly lit street up towards the steep hill and into the cover of the trees. Josh and I are ahead, while Kate struggles to catch up due to some rocky ground. It felt like forever, but I think just a minute passed until we heard yelling from Tweak and the sound of someone pursuing us. I felt like I was on autopilot as I ran faster and harder. I was, and still am, a good runner. Josh kept up, but Kate kept asking us to stop. I stopped for Kate, because I was scared that Tweak would get her. I couldn't see or hear him anymore, so we rest and wait to hear for anything. The only noise is that of crickets and our heavy breathing. Josh figures it's safe now, and leads us down the hill slowly, as to not make any sound. We stay close to the few houses, but stay off the road in case we encounter Tweak on our way down. We reach the house we were staying at without further incident. I'm glad it didn't take a worse turn. Now, I don't know all of the signs of methamphetamine users, but I have encountered more users and learned more about illegal drugs in college courses. I'm certain he was a user. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you would like a chance to have your story featured in an upcoming video, make sure you email it to urmaker6260@gmail.com. I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.